Ever since I was born, I've always loved gloves, man. Goalie gloves, winter gloves, tanning gloves. I swear you were white yesterday. Latex gloves. But now finally, my big chance. A trial in goal for a pre-season match for Plymouth Argyle. The pros, I might realise my dream. The cons, I'm in Plymouth. But I'm gonna grab this opportunity with both hands.
Oh, was für ein Tor.
And taking the fucking
wirklich.
Ah, fuck. Maybe I should have grabbed it with both feet as well.
ice in the fucking veins, mate! Fucking off that, you cunt!
Yo guys, it is your boy Newman here, and you are watching FTW. This, of course, the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. Oh, I am feeling good today. This is going to be a good one, I swear. Now, one thing before we get started, please do make sure you hit the like button. It really does help the series, and make sure you see the next episode. YouTube is a weird website these days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, we saw more racketeering than a P. Diddy trial as Wimbledon came to a close. Yannick Sinner defeating Carlos Alcaraz in a thrilling final. Alcaraz will be disappointed with finishing second, and now I see why. Now I understand. These lot are actually transcending into other sports. Arsenal's influence knows no bounds. Carlos will be staring at the Wimbledon trophy in a museum instead of on his own shelf this week. Meanwhile, Mikel Arteta could be seen in the crowd working out if the Spaniard could play at DM. Now though, on to the football, and it was time to head to the States, unfortunately, and wrap up the Club World Cup. Now, PSG hadn't really been wrapping up when they shoved their sausage into the world's best teams thus far this season, so they were clearly favourites for this game, and their fans were ready for the occasion. This many foreigners in one place must have had ice fondling their posters from the 1950s.
Is it a colour thing?
But instead it was Chelsea aiming to send these lot home, knowing them probably also looking at the very same posters. Oh, we're starting off strong this episode. In warm-up for the final, and one of Ashraf Hakimi's wayward strikes, Wi-Fi connected with a supporter in the stands. She was left injured and flustered, Ashraf going over to make sure she was okay. Honestly, these footballers have been on kill streaks when it comes to knocking out innocent civilians. She was trying to mog her way into Hakimi's iMessage conversations when he came over. Meanwhile, the footballing world will be left in shock when he leaves her hospital bills in his mum's name instead.
Ashraf Hakimi is playing 4D chess.
In the build-up to this final, and Chelsea had ran a campaign asking if defenders were going to be getting skinned by Cole Palmer and to call a helpline if in fact you were. And poor Nuno Mendes, he got a call from that number before kickoff. That would foreshadow everything. The Portuguese wing-back getting on his knees before remembering the BLM movement was about 4 years ago. The ball being pulled back to Cole Palmer, he calmly slotted it into the bottom corner for 1-0, only to do the exact same thing minutes later and double Chelsea's lead. Why on earth is it so cold in July? Speaking of cold, Ousmane Dembele and Cole Palmer got a absolutely freezing cold picture that replicated New York workers at a time where James Milner was still only 21. But it's all in the body language here, I'm not gonna lie to you. Palmer sat up straight, Ousmane Dembele leaning in towards him. Palmer looking confident, Dembele looking goofy. Palmer with his knob out, Dembele covering it. And given his first half performance, Donald Trump will have been absolutely fuming, realising that he can't sign Cole Palmer for the US men's national team. Speaking of Donald, he was in attendance in the crowd and was booed mercilessly. The New York Post, fresh off a secret payout from Trump's administration, said that he was in fact cheered in comparison to everybody else's ears. They must have been watching this game on one of them Pro Evo streams, bro. That's the only explanation. Nicholas Jackson, meanwhile, will have been taken away after firing a shot over, only to have inadvertently caused an assassination. In between Chelsea sticks, though, and Robert Sanchez was busy. In fact, he had an absolutely sublime game. This is probably the best I've seen him. Peter Sanchez, you know, get that skull cap on him now. Let's be honest, though, it'll be short-lived. ICE will not be allowing a guy with the surname Sanchez to be in this environment. Meanwhile, at the other end, and Joao Pedro were dinking over Gianluigi Donnarumma.
What, Chelsea? Pussy or what? Say something.
To make it 3-0 before half-time. Since when was Joao Pedro on this business, by the way? The guy's been unreal since he signed in the Club World Cup. I wasn't sold on the signing at first, but so far, you know, early days, the vibes are immaculate. PSG had been gassed after putting 4 past Real Madrid, only to be humbled by Domino's this time around. PSG's president was going through it up in the stands, and supporters won't have been doing too much better watching the half-time show whilst 3-0 down. A halftime show, by the way, in the middle of a World Cup final. Utter yank nonsense.
It's killing the game, mate. It's not the same game it used to be.
In a week where US rap and UK rap are feuding, let's be real, we can only bring RD to the table if they're doing a halftime show, and I don't think that compares.
Think I didn't take risks to get to this sitch.
Into the second half, and PSG would be unable to claim any scalps. Well, apart from João Neves, who managed to claim Marc Cucurella's, getting himself sent off for a hair pull. This is Marc Cucurella's special move, isn't it? Getting GBH. It's happened so many times that he's basically perfected it. Look at the form after that. And with that, the Blues were victors. Not before Luis Enrique could unleash a haymaker on João Pedro at full time, shoving towards João Pedro's face and leaving him on the ground, something I'm sure his girlfriend's dad'll be willing to do as well.
I'm getting the word.
PSG fans, I'm sure, will have been rioting back home in Paris after this result. Let's be honest, they'd have been doing that if they won anyway. Cole Palmer couldn't believe that Malo Gusto was wearing a traded PSG shirt at full time. Meanwhile, former Ops Brazilian side Flamengo, who beat Chelsea in the group stages, were the first to congratulate them here. Chelsea replying, saying they thought they were London Blue after a tweet that Flamengo had put out earlier on in the tournament. Yeah, it's a shithousery award for Chelsea's admin.
Why you begging, man, fam? Fuck off, bloke. Fuck off, bloke.
An emotional Pedro Neto dedicated his win to his former teammate Diogo Jota. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was front and centre during the celebration. Who even invited this guy, fam? I swear that. To be fair, we all know who's been sucking him off all month.
Today I feel gay.
It created a legendary picture with him, Cole Palmer, and Gianni Infantino. You know how hard it is to get two other people with less brain cells than Cole Palmer in a picture? There's about 4 brain cells in this picture alone, and they're shared between the audience members in the background. Cole Palmer thinks he's met an actor. He has no idea this is the President of America. Another unbelievable performance in a final for Cole Palmer. The thing is, he can't let the occasion get to his mind because he doesn't have one. He's like the ultimate confidence player. During the ceremony, and Donald Trump could be seen stealing a Club World Cup medal. If any president was going to do it. Did you not see him play at left wing, lad? Nah, he fully deserved it, honestly, I swear that he was there as well. He's going to be substituted himself on in the World Cup final in 2026. There's the revelation as well that Donald actually has the real trophy at the White House, and Chelsea only lifted a replica. They're the ones that actually won it. Why would they have the replica? I'm starting to realise what this tournament was all about.
This whole thing, all of this, it's all about me.
Either way, Cole couldn't quite believe that he was involved in the celebrations as Reece James lifted the inaugural new Club World Cup trophy. Reece was quoted as saying he didn't realise that the US president would be with them on stage, and now purely by association, the poor lad's found himself on the Epstein files list as well. Now though, with the tournament fading into the sunset, what are our actual opinions? Well, whilst I think it's proven that it's not just a glorified pre-season friendly, a lot of the teams outside of Europe definitely took it very serious, and it meant a lot to their fans, which is lovely to see, and I love that. Even the European teams took it seriously. They fielded very strong sides. Ultimately, it is still a cash grab. You know, no amount of decent football is going to stop that from being the case. And it's still, in the long term, going to lead to injuries to players. So whilst it has its positives for sure, and whilst maybe a version in America won't be quite as cringy, I do still think that steps need to be taken to ensure player safety. Lamine Yamal isn't concerning himself, though, with all that football malarkey. He's instead had a summer off, and he spent it throwing his 18th birthday party, inviting models and dwarves to it.
What the fucking hell's happening?
Yeah, look, now, I've made a video on this situation already. I actually uploaded it 2 days ago. You can go and check it out after this video is done. But it's caused a lot of controversy online, and he's even being investigated on the grounds of having, you know, people with dwarfism act as purely entertainers at a social event. Neymar will be watching on proudly after 1 game of beach football's worth of influence over this kid's life. Lionel Messi will have been in the car on the way to the party, telling his driver to turn this thing around after realizing what his role was gonna be. Official news at 7, yeah? It's all a bit crazy. I'm just gonna say, like, basically, what happened to the days where we just talk about the Premier League on this show? Do you know what I'm saying? Lisandro Martinez, meanwhile, was kicked out of the entrance after showing up uninvited, and Tariq Lamptey would have just been at least happy to show face.
You know, if that's my role, I'll take it. As long as I'm involved.
There was another angle to this story, which I did actually cover in the video from a few days ago. Since I've recorded that, though, the model who suggested that people were being invited for their chest dimensions has actually confirmed that she made up the entire thing. And if I'm going to be 1,000,000% honest, whilst I do agree with people's concerns that people with dwarfism shouldn't be limited to just being entertainers based on the fact that they do have dwarfism, I absolutely agree with that. They shouldn't be treated any differently or shouldn't be being mocked just because of their disability. I also do think that these guys also did confirm via a radio interview that they were hired and that they wanted to do the job and that nothing disrespectful happened whilst they were at the party. And I think realistically, that's the crucial thing. As long long as there is respect between all parties, and as long as they're doing a job that they actually want to do and that they've been hired to do, I don't think it's quite as big a problem as social media has made out, if I'm being totally transparent. They can make their own decisions, and the assumption that they can't, or the assumption that they have to be being mocked if they're going to be at a party, is actually kind of detrimental in itself. And also, people like Theo Hernandez and Alejandro Garnacho had also done this at their own parties and not received the same backlash. Plus, he's got other things to focus on. He officially was handed down the number 10 shirt this week, one that has been worn by so many Barcelona greats in the past. It actually represents the 10th scandal that he's been involved in at an early age. This kid's had a new number every single year, from 41 to 28 to 19 to 10. A new number every year, just like Jack Grealish, but this time not for a ketamine dealer. To be fair, who knows what was happening at that party, actually. And this clip of Lamine did at least remind us of just how fucking mental he is at football, absolutely skinning two of his Barca teammates at the same time. Now, in the Premier League and for Liverpool, they outlined their intentions of signing Alexander Isak from Newcastle. Finally, we're spending some of that Felipe Coutinho money, am I right, lad? We must have invested that into Bitcoin, bro, because how are we even signing this guy? We on oil money business without any of the oil. They must have turned Anfield into a Shell garage. This is the only explanation. Listen, Newcastle, yeah, all I'm going to say is, right, we gave you that Carabao Cup. First time you've won a trophy in ages. If we could just do a little deal, like, that could be like the first installment of... We've got Arsenal signing Victor Gyökeres. Alexander Isak signing for Liverpool with Wirtz, Frimpong, Kirkes. Man City getting Reinders, Shirky and the rest of their window. Chelsea have won the Club World Cup. Even Spurs are spending money. Is this league even a safe environment for United anymore?
Manchester United.
Brian Mbermo's gonna look like Tito Jackson by the time he actually signs. All I'm saying is, yeah, this is a young Alexander Isak, yeah, in a Liverpool kit, fam. Even he wants to come. And we then give Newcastle an ultimatum. After they were linked with Hugo Ekitike, we announced that we'd either be signing Isak from Newcastle or taking their #1 striking target. We're gegenpressing in the transfer market as well, for fuck's sake. Only for the whole plan to go drastically wrong.
Hi there. Just a heartfelt word to the Newcastle fans. Jokes aside, there's no need to thank us. Coming in, helping us with our PSR issues, and honestly, it's what we're about.
Yeah, safe sound. Thanks for that. We're not signing him anymore, innit? I think, honestly, this signing would have, like, genuinely caused a full-scale meltdown for the Arsenal fan base. But if you want my honest opinion, I don't think we're going to sign Alexander Isak. I don't think Newcastle are going to let him go for less than, like, 160 mil. And even though we seem to have found all this money behind the sofa, I don't think we can afford that. So, alas, Ekitike it is. On the pitch, and Liverpool played against Preston North End in a friendly. And it was an emotional return for the Reds, given the news of the summer. A first game played since the tragic passing of Diogo Jota. Now, a new mural had been unveiled in the city for Diogo beforehand, and the number 20 shirt was officially retired by the club. Preston laid a wreath in his and Andre Silva's honour, and a beautiful minute's silence was observed at the ground. The fans brought out their best renditions of Diogo chants in his honour, and with Darwin Núñez scoring, he dedicated his goal to Jota with his celebration. Cody Gakpo would do exactly the same. Now, for Manchester City, they're enjoying some time off, as Oasis played in the city. Jack Grealish announced his love for Man City fans whilst a little bit bevved at the entrance.
You know what? Bro, I love City more than anything.
I love City more than anything.
And do you know what I love more than anything? Fans. Bro, the best fans in the world.
Honestly, this kid is world class when it comes to getting on it. He could be seen downing a litre of Jägermeister to Wonderwall. Meanwhile, Pep Guardiola was also in attendance. Pictured with the verbs Richard Ashcroft, these jorts are a fresh FFP charge, I swear down. They gotta get him for this. Fashion fucking problems, mate. That's what it stands for. Pep was absolutely loving it with his wife. He's genuinely done a marriage remontada. He's actually gonna win the Prem, fam. He's got the tactics of his wife back again. Nice. It's over for all of us. He tactically got City knocked out of the Club World Cup so he could go and watch Oasis, mate. Elsewhere at the club, and Puma announced a £1 billion deal with Man City to continue being their kit suppliers for the foreseeable future. It's not even worth it for Man City on my life. You couldn't pay me £1 billion to wear a Puma in general, let alone that waterboarding third kit this season. Predictions are being made for the Ballon d'Or race of 2025, and the percentages or the chances of each candidate actually winning apparently have been released. And some of these they give for crazy reading here. Oh my days. Ashraf Hakimi above Rafinha. Look, I get it. Obviously, they've won lots of trophies. But after the season Rafinha had, bro, I would sue all of France, bro. Mo Salah finishing 6th in voting again. It can't happen, can it?
It can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
Meanwhile, Vinny Jr. took his 10 times tweet and applied it mathematically. He finished 2nd in the Ballon d'Or voting this year, and I can't see him breaking into the top 20, I'm not gonna lie. I just know he's gonna be fuming in the car park when he comes home with 36th in the voting this season.
Come and find me. I'm in the car park now.
Brazilian Manchester United star Anthony could be seen doing some pre-season training this week. Bro, what in the mannequin challenge defenders going on?
Look at this twat. Look at
This doesn't give me faith when he's using his uncle as the defender. Some F2 freestylers wing back going on here. Just get back to doing spins. At least tell the wing back to try and tackle you or the guy that you're going against. Without the power of Real Betis, I'm convinced he's nothing, genuinely. Elsewhere, a new Tottenham signing, Mohamed Kudus, was asked to pose with a young Spurs fan, only he was given a pen and then was left confused when he was given nothing to use the pen on. Meanwhile, Brentford, they are chasing Ipswich man Amari Hutchinson. With the Tractor Boys getting relegated, they now have an active release clause on him. A release clause, you say?
Bang, see you later, you go in prison.
And in Cameroon, Andre Onana could be seen playing in his homeland as an outfielder. Bro, get back in between the sticks. That's where you need to practice, I swear. Joao Felix, whilst taking a break from scamming professional football clubs, is away in Japan at the moment and can be seen in this picture here on Instagram. Though people have been quick to point out he's clearly crossing the road during a red light signal. Bro's risking getting hit by a Honda Civic for Insta. If that driver is a Chelsea fan, they'll be driving through him after costing a collective 187 gajillion pounds in wages and fees. At Inter, and they are making a new signing for their club's under-23s. It's Cesena defender Giuseppe Prestia, who's 31 years old. Signing a 31-year-old for your under-23s is crazy, but to be fair, 31 is basically youth academy level in Italy. Meanwhile, as we can see, we've got Pedro here at Lazio training. Some eagle-eyed viewers, though, have pointed out the fact there's clearly someone wearing Roma shorts in the background. Wearing your biggest rival's shorts to training.
Not too sure that was a clever move.
Real Madrid have announced the signing of wingback Alvaro Carreras, someone who actually used to play for them in their youth squads. He comes in from Benfica, but honestly, I've got things that I need to address. This man looks like he played for Liverpool in 2005. Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Granit Xhaka may well be on the move. He might be the latest import of the Saudi Pro League, joining Neom SC. Me when I'm a car. Easily worst badge of all time, bro. That looks like it's a company that deals with scientific software engineering, not a football establishment. I was questioning whether he should be going to Saudi Arabia, Granit Xhaka, and then I looked at his hairline and now I understand why it's happening. In France, and there was wholesome scenes for Nabil Bentaleb, the former Tottenham man, is at Lille now. He actually had a cardiac arrest. He suffered a cardiac arrest in 2024. He made his first appearance as a substitute back in Ligue 1 towards the end of last season and has now scored his first goal for the club since returning. We love to see it. Meanwhile, there was dramatic scenes at Dunkirk in Ligue 2 as Gonçalo Fayo lasted just 15 days as their manager. Yeah, he came in to start his job during the course of the summer and said, now, you know what, G, I'm actually good after 2 weeks. Apparently citing the fact that he wasn't too happy with the club's infrastructure. Probably should have done that research beforehand. Now, though, it's time for your goals of the week, and what a selection this time. I asked you guys to submit these ones. First of all, shout out to K Tierney CSC. He sent Jack Healy. He just started for East Kilbride to make his first competitive appearance for the club, and what better way to mark it than to score this absolute banger. The curl on this strike into the top corner is a joke. Next up, we got Ollie LUFCOA, who submitted this goal from Steeton AFC. Some nice link-up play, some one-touch football before the right-back decides to ping one cross-field to be met with an absolutely stunning left-footed volley from Lewis Gartland into the opposite corner. That is a sweet, sweet strike. But finally, we've got a goal that I don't even understand. Submitted by SebCity_. This one's more of like a five-a-side one, but I don't care, because this finish is absolutely remarkable. The chip on the volley, kind of on the spin as well. I don't even understand the physics of this one. To get your goals submitted, make sure to tweet me for next week. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty.
Posicionado, vem aí, vem pra cobrança, bateu, pegou Eugênio, voltou, gol!
And that concludes the beautiful game. Now back in Brazil, after a difficult start to life back at Santos, Neymar scored a winning goal against Flamengo to take a 1-0 victory on his return from injury. Yeah, safe. Listen, give me that title right now. During this one as well, he actually tried to nutmeg manager Felipe Luis, but was a little bit more successful with a skill move against his own son, absolutely destroying the poor kid in training. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get Neymar Jr. being quite as good as this one, unfortunately. In MLS football now, and Lionel Messi's run has been absolutely astounding recently. He scored a brace in 5 consecutive games, going absolutely crazy. Look, listen, I get it. I was wrong for that title a few weeks ago. He scored 2 goals against Nashville, including 1 free kick, and it means he scored more free kicks than penalties since 2018. 35 compared to 33, a mental record, though the run was ended with a 3-0 defeat to Cincinnati. Clearly, he's taken the defeat pretty badly as he started streaming over on Twitch. Listen, I see what happens. I'll get banned if I say Ginger Messi, yeah? I'm gonna be a man of culture and call him the Irish descent Messi instead. This man looks like a science experiment with a tango can. In Turkey, and one Galatasaray fan is threatening to take matters into his own hands, sending a message to the son of Napoli's president, threatening the Turkish mafia if they don't hand over Victor Osimhen permanently. The most peaceful Turkish fan. He's gonna get an assist on the move if Osimhen heads over there. Imagine Fabrizio Romano starting to use this tactic so that he can get exclusives. The Turkish mafia will be arriving at Napoli Stadium 12 seconds after deadline day if this move isn't completed. Over in Russia, and what the hell is going on at Lokomotiv Moscow versus Dynamo Moscow? Lokomotiv were 1-0 up until going into injury time, where Dynamo managed to score 5 goals, that including one in the 36th minute. Is this Leverkusen from the 2023 campaign? The referee forgot to end the match. He fell asleep in the centre circle. Apparently, the reason for this is that the game was actually played along 3 halves, which mathematically just doesn't make any sense. The Google didn't quite know how to translate that into actual minutes and instead did it this way. Elsewhere in Russia, and probably the most extra player reveal goes to Zenit St. Petersburg and how they brought Gerson out in their stadium in front of Zenit fans. Honestly, I'm just excited to be here at this club. No, Gerson, mate, it's a spade. The card's a spade, so you're gonna have to say that one again. Back in America, and Seattle Sounders defender Nuhu has been banned for 2 games for throwing a football into the crowd at supporters and has been given an additional fine for throwing up a middle finger at the referee. Reasonable crash out. They probably threatened to do a halftime show for MLS matches as well. If he's banned from playing football, one man at Union St. Gilloise should probably be banned from playing golf, as Usainu Niang almost decapitated all of the workers there. Definitely not a sport change for him, but a position change might be required for one goalkeeper in Japan. Ryan Aomori's goalkeeper, Riko Hirosue, has scored already recently, and I told you about it in football this week before. He scored once again, this goalkeeper, in the 4th tier of Japanese football in the Emperor's Cup. Last time he helped his side to victory. This time, however, he was on the losing end of the result, but still crazy that he's scoring at such a regular rate. And elsewhere in the Emperor's Cup, there was a massive upset, as aside from University in Tokyo knocked out one of the biggest clubs in the country in Niigata. There was a Streets Won't Forget World Cup edition link-up this week, as South African legend Sifwe Shabalala, who scored their first goal at the 2010 World Cup, linked up with Mexican goalkeeper Guillermo Ochoa, who apparently has been playing football for about 47 years, 2 real underrated icons of the world of football. In the Netherlands, and NEC played against the side of amateurs in a pre-season friendly. It went about as expected, as they won 27-0. Whether that's a basketball score, come on, give them a chance. Meanwhile, a side called Arsenal have been banned for 10 years. Yet that's a club named Arsenal in Montenegro who have been banned for 10 years in European competition for match fixing. Honestly, 10 years without European football, they were just following in the footsteps of the English Arsenal until about 2024. Elsewhere, Copa 90 found the highest pitch in Europe. It belongs to FC Gaspon, and you can only get there if you hike or get a cable car. Honestly, you're done if you kick this ball over the fence. Genuinely some sick scenic views, but some poor unassuming civilian is not going to know what's hit him at the bottom of the valley when he's smacked by a ball at 567 miles an hour. Shout out to Gibraltarian side Lincoln Red Imps, who won against Icelandic club Vikingor, a tiny nation really putting themselves on the map with some decent European displays. And even smaller than them, Tre Fiori, who won their first leg against Armenian side Punic. They're trying to win a tie as a San Marinese club for only the 3rd time in footballing history when they play against them again in the 2nd leg. Big good luck to Tre Fiori here. Now closer to home, and Birmingham faced off against Sevilla in a pre-season friendly. They won 3-1 against the Spanish side and tweeted them saying thanks for coming. Yeah, it's a shithousery award, I've got to say. Then at Leicester City, and we must have a record for the biggest time between a first goal of the game and the last goal of the game. Leicester's opener being scored in the 1st minute, and a goal from Jordan Ayew being scored in the 28th minute of injury time. That goal being an absolute corker as well, directly from a corner. Lovely Olympico here from Jordan. Elsewhere in the Championship, and it turns turns out that Snoop Dogg absolutely loves Swansea.
Hail to Wales and the Swansea City. It's your boy Big Snoop Dogg coming to a hood near you. Oh yeah, these are the New Jersey.
In fairness though, this guy's the least loyal fan you've ever seen. They probably asked for this on Cameo from him. Meanwhile, down at Millwall, and they were seriously dedicated to a game of head tennis in the pool, only to be absolutely fuming when it all fell apart. 4, 30, 40, 50, 60, 17, 18. At Notts County, there's no such thing as a friendly. Tensions were left firmly rising after this absolute horror challenge, which undoubtedly and unsurprisingly ended in a straight red card. Yeah, they're not getting invited back to Germany, bro. Notts County tried to spin this by tweeting that the guy had like slightly lost his head and let frustration get the better of him. Yeah, no, I don't think that's gonna cut it, quite frankly. At Chesterfield, and they managed to drench one Sky reporter by accidentally switching the sprinklers on and got a draw against Nottingham Forest, who they quoted as a Europa League club. Andy Carroll left Bordeaux over the summer and has joined Dagenham and Redbridge. This is FNG Twitch channel heritage. We absolutely love to see it. At Welling, and they can't honestly be asked to give updates on a score anymore. They've just told their fans to go and follow Leyton Orient's updates instead. Though those updates are going to be significantly better than the ones at Bolton, who have accidentally put their pre-season friendly footage upside down. Elsewhere, in Conference League qualifiers, we saw one of the maddest comebacks of all time. HJK Helsinki had lost 4-0 in the first leg to Runavik of the Faroe Islands. This was an absolutely mental result because Runavik very much the underdogs here. HJK went into the second leg needing an absolute miracle. And that is exactly what they would get. They were 4-0 up come the end of the 90 minutes. They'd managed to get themselves back onto level terms and then scored once again in extra time to make it 5-0 and win 5-4 on aggregate. This after having 60 shots across the course of the game. That is absolutely ludicrous. Staying at Helsinki, 4-0 is kind of the theme with them as they produced that result in the Finnish Cup. Though the confusing thing here was they were playing against their own B team. Yeah, they were drawn against their reserve side, and thankfully for them, did actually win. The sad news coming out of Portugal, Boa Vista, the last team outside of the traditional top 3 in Portugal to win the Portuguese league title, have been relegated to the 5th tier, this due to financial problems. Yet another iconic team, I guess, across Europe falling foul to this fate. At St Johnstone, they've decided to hang their washing out. They must have signed someone from Australia, mate. Their players are going to be confused when Mussolini walks into training.
Someone said you was dead.
In Brazil, shout out to Bahia, where they are wearing Superman kits as they line up to take to the field. Up in Scotland and at Montrose, their Twitter admin has completed his day's work and he's off to go get pissed. I think the defenders may have been pissed though in Sierra Leone, as in this game between Calon and Wilberforce strikers, we had a 12-goal thriller, 7-5 the result, made even more ridiculous by one of the board members having a scrap with a goalkeeper at full time and the fans laying into the referee. Absolute cinema over there. Now that it's time for Still 0-0, you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to the best of Sunday League and amateur football. Now, big challenges fly in left, right and centre, but some far more brutal than others. And honestly, it's a wonder if this striker will ever be able to walk again after this crippling challenge from a goalkeeper. Yeah, get him out of there, fam. You diving like this at Sunday League level is absolutely criminal. On to the weird stuff, though, now. We start off in Cameroon and at Fovu Club de Baham, who just 10 months ago were riding high. In 2023, they won the Cameroonian Cup. That meant that they qualified for the Africa Confederation Cup qualifiers. That is a continental competition that is basically the equivalent of the Europa League. A big moment for their club, but unfortunately, things have spiraled out of control since. For the 23-24 campaign, they were relegated to the 2nd division, and they suffered back-to-back relegations when in 24-25 they ended up down in the 3rd tier. Imagine going from the Europa League to League One in 10 months in England. Over at Guinea, their footballing federation are quick to make sure there is going to be no failure, no resting on their laurels, as they have sent their players to a military boot camp. I don't think that's the type of shooting they need to be practicing. But finally, we have got a 2nd-tier hero over in Iraq. Meet Ali Wahab, who is somewhat of a specialist at getting teams promoted. In fact, it is quite literally all he cares about. He got a side promoted from the 2nd tier of Iraqi football for the 8th time in his managerial career this week, and he's intent to do it again. Despite clearly being a good enough manager to manage in the top flight, he then left his post immediately, stepped down with the intention of taking another 2nd division job again for this coming season. What an absolute hero. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.